Welcome to Waiting Tables Podcast, sponsored by Briscato Law, where we share stories of people in our community who live to serve others.
There's just parts of me that's like, look, give me a little spot, give me near some water, near some woods, right? Just far enough away from the city where we can drive in the city and go do, I don't know, I guess the older I get, I guess that's more appealing to me. The calm and the quiet, I don't know.
Please tell me we're recording.
We are.
That's pretty good.
We are. I gotta clap us in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want me to clap over here, or you
You're
good?
good. No, I don't.
You want to clap Friday? Like we all clap.
You want to pull you a chair real quick and you can sit over here?
Justin,
Yeah.
come on in.
Get on in here.
Yeah, we'll try that real quick and see.
Yeah, there you go. He's nowhere to be seen.
The first things first. I'm going to give you a gift here.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming to our little.
Oh, this is great, man. Oh, yeah. Look here. Oh, yeah, it's the new ULM swag with the new star. I love it. I like, do you like?
Your wife may like these koozies too. It says, I was born to argue, so.
No,
I don't know.
There's no argument at my house. Look, I tell people all the time, I said the secret, thank you, by the way. The secret to a happy marriage, I tell these new couples, I said, I look at the young man and usually his fiance or his wife sitting next, I said, you always get the last word in every argument. And she's like, what? And he's like, oh, I don't know about that. I said, yeah. You look her right in the face and you say, yes, ma'am. I said, that's it. That's it. All done. Because usually the things you wind up like are the biggest arguments you have are usually over the most insignificant things.
Yeah.
And I've learned in life that it's just, look, certain things are better left. Just, you know what, babe, you're right. And just, Let's go with it, right? But that comes with time.
What's that song? Let it go.
Yeah, gray hairs. Oh yeah. Oh, I sang that many times with my daughter. Yes, very good.
Yeah, my daughter told me that too.
Well, thanks for having me on. This is great.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming, and I know you got a busy day ahead, so
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you too long. But I think I really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Well, you say busy. I say busy is a relative term. I said because there are people whose calendars I wouldn't want to trade. Right. Mm-hmm. So these are the times that I really love making time for because like we were talking off cameras, like these things are unscripted and they're a good way just to not just wherever the conversation takes you, not have somebody invite you to come talk about something, you know what I mean? And really just get into wherever the conversation goes. So these are great opportunities.
Well, it's kind of like my thing is like, I've wanted to have conversations with you and like, we've probably both been too busy to just sit down and talk. And then, this is kind of a cool way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
well, good. Well, let me ask you something. I know you're supposed to be asking me questions. Like what was the thing behind just getting behind this mic and getting people across from you? What was your why behind this? Cause I've always, look, our guy, Nolan's off camera over here, but I've always hit him up. I said, man, I really want to do more of this and have these kind of just unscripted, raw conversations with community members,
Well, I think for me, the thing that I've been interested in is being more engaged with our community.
Yeah.
And like I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the interest at all in serving in any kind of official capacity, like ever.
Yeah. Be careful what you wish for. I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Look at me now.
And let me say on the back end of that, thank you for doing what you're doing. Because I mean, I've thought through what it must take.
Yeah.
And I mean I don't know
to
the extent that you know, but I just know that I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. God is God. What do you say? Man plans and God laughs. That's kind of been the story of my life. I never thought I would ever be an elected official. I was like most people, kind of when you think of elected officials, there are some that you believe in, and there's a lot that you're just like, man, that's tough. Elected officials right now, as far as popularity goes, there's not a lot of high public trust in elected officials, and we just wanted to do it differently. Hopefully that our community has seen we've done it differently. We try to, we said it yesterday in another conversation, you be careful when saying you're making the right decision, because when you decide, you divide. I always try to say I'm trying to make the best decision, because it's based upon, number one, you have gut feelings on things, but also it's based upon the information you have in front of you, and you're trying to make the best decision to positively affect the most people. And ultimately, you're going to make some decisions that aren't popular with some people, but that's a part of leadership. If you're you got to get in, you've got to make the tough decisions, and you have to continue to move forward and understanding along the way. There's some people that disagree with what you've got going on. But the biggest challenge in that is that, I've talked about this multiple times. It's really my biggest fear about public service was really opening up your family to the unknown, the uncontrollable, because most people like to control their environments, right? And we like to tune out everything or unfollow somebody on social media, or just, it's that lack of control of the negative things that can come from being in public office. But
I'm assuming you mean like criticism.
Oh yeah, criticism. Let's face it, even running in office, there are personal attacks that go against you. What do you say? You learn more about yourself when you run for office that other people know about you that just don't know you, right? There's that, because I have kids and they can read the papers and they can see comments on social media. Some people, my son's name is Friday Ellis as well. So some people, he can see, and other people tag, and they tag the wrong Friday Ellis on social media on things. And so they're old enough, but I'm confident in the men and women that I'm raising in our house. We talk about these things at night at the table. Our kids sometimes roll their eyes and are like, Mom, Dad, we have to solve all the world's problems at the table every night, but I think it's grown them to understand our mission and our why. They saw that Mom and Dad were courageous enough to step out there and actually work for progress in their communities, other than just sit back behind a keyboard and fire some comments off. And honestly, I think it shaped them as leaders, whether it be on their football team or in their schools, and to understand that they have the power to do positive things to help people. And I really think our time, my wife served on Bessie. I think our time in office has shown them that, you don't have to wear a cape to make positive changes in your community. You can do it just by showing up and doing work to help whoever it is. And so the positives far outweigh the negatives. The negatives are probably about 5% of the job. You just try not to let that 5% of the job affect the 95% of the work that you do every single day.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, kind of leaning back, or taking a step back from what you just said, let me ask you this. What would you say is kind of like where you're coming from in any given situation, in terms of like what's important to you?
Yeah.
Like where do you start on that?
Yeah. So what's important to me about this job?
And I don't even necessarily mean about the job.
Yeah. Oh, to me, every single day is my faith first and foremost. That to me is what guides me. That is my, I think God has truly put, the spirit of discernment in everybody's being. You get that feeling when you're not in God's aligned with God's plan for your life. Some people call it the Holy Spirit. Some people call it your conscience. Whatever you want to call it, I know that is God in your life telling you you're not moving in a direction that I prefer you to move into. And you've got to stay in tune in that. And the more you stay grounded in it, the more you are attuned. I always tell people it's like a radio station. When you're not in tune, God's word's a little more fuzzy in his direction in life. But when you're in tune with God and in prayer and petition, that's when you know that you're aligned. And so at most every decision that I make is really based on big decisions that I make that I know will affect a lot of people. There's a lot of prayer that goes into that. And then, if
you mind,
no, come on. Yeah.
So do you feel like you've ever been like, can you share an example of a time where you felt like you were truly like guided by the Spirit, where
I could
where
tell
you were moved like
Absolutely. Yeah, those are big moments in not only my life. I could start with, let's just say, something outside of the office. Our adoption story is one of those. I have you can't see him on the screen, but my half brother is here. My big brother, he's off screen.
Y'all don't look anything alike.
Yeah, we get that a lot. My wife says it's weird to look at our hands because it's like we have the same hands, Justin will remember this, but we were living in, I think it was maybe Rock Island or Moline, and there was a place called the Christian Family Care Center that our mother was working at, and it was kind of a kid's home. And I always wondered why all these kids were all in this building, and they were living there. They didn't have any parents, and I just didn't understand that these children didn't have parents, right? And then later in life, I understood what that was, and I guess there was this, I don't know, this weak spot in my heart for adoption. And, at the time, my wife was going through some health issues, and the doctor was like, look, you should think about having children at this point because you may have a painful pregnancy. And we started praying about it, whether we're going to have kids or not. And, adoption was one of the things we were considering. And we prayed about it. And then one day she was teaching at Richwood, and she went in, and there she was talking about, the craziest thing. Friday and I were talking about adoption. And when she got back
and
to
at this point, you've got no kids.
We've got 2 boys
at
the time.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
we already had 2 boys at the time, and
Gotcha.
we were like, look, we should think about having children because, if we start now, there'd be an 8-year gap between, our boys, and I think about it, but it may have not have been in the cards at the time. And so we started praying about it, what are our options? And Ashley is her prayer life is very strong, and, she likes to journal her prayers, and one of those nights she prayed that, God, whatever your plan is for our children, or for us to have more children, we just kind of lay it at your feet. I'm tired of worrying about it. Take this burden. Whatever your plan is your plan. And sure enough, she's like, days later, she's at school and she's talking about this with colleagues, and a friend's like, well, I know a family with a little girl who, they're fostering. She needs a permanent home. And so we started the foster and adopt process. 6 months later, this beautiful little girl is living with us in our house. And this is about just being obedient to what God has really put on your life. And I'd say all of this to say, years later, she likes to go back and look at old prayers that she journaled, kind of what times in her life. She called me into the room, and she says, babe, I want you to look at something. And it was that prayer. It was like, God, whatever, your will for our life is, we lay it at your feet. I said, God provided, baby. She goes, no, I want you to look at the date. And it was February the 12th of 2013 that she prayed that prayer and wrote that in her journal. Our daughter's birthday is February the 13th of 2013.
Wow.
I don't know how you want to look at that or what people say, but I will tell you, God answered our prayer the very next day, and we wouldn't know about it till 18 months later when we were introduced to our daughter, right? And I think that's the power and importance of prayer, and understanding that that's why it's important that you're obedient to God and His will in your life. And you know it when you're not aligned in that way. The second big decision that I would say, the second, one of many, but one I would like to give you an example of, and it was just about running for office. I mean, we were both, my wife decided to run for state school board. We were both the same way. We were sitting in our house going, how do we change this environment where we're living? And she's like, how do I change the environment? That's what all of our conversations had revolved around, is how do we change the environment? And we were both like, well, you've got to change policy if you're going to do it in a scaled way, and that you can have a larger and broader reach than just in your schoolhouse, right? And so she decided to run for Bessie. Didn't tell a soul. She had 24 hours to qualify for this race, and she was like, okay, God, if it's in your plan, I'll know in the morning. I told Ashley, what are you going to do? She goes, I'll have my answer in the morning. She said she prayed. Sure enough, she was getting ready, and she's like, let's do it. Let's drive to Baton Rouge. Literally, that was the last day of qualifying. Nobody knew about it. She signs up. She ran an awesome campaign. She covered 19 parishes.
It's a big district.
It mirrors the 5th Congressional District, and beat the brakes off of her opponent and got in there and was doing her job. And same way for me, then was my turn. It was, look, I planned to run for city council. At the time, Michael Eccles was looking to run for mayor. He then in turn said, you know what? No, I'm going to run for this House seat. And then there was this need, and I've had a couple friends going, do you want to run for council or do you want to run for mayor? I was like, well, that's a big leap, right? I was saying everything else everybody in this community was saying. I'm just a cigar shop owner, right? I've never ran a business this large to this scale, right? All of those internal doubts and fears that you have going off on your own and you're starting a law firm, those fears, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
All the fears started to set in, but the more we prayed about it, Ashley and I, the more people we met, the more confident we were. And it was just like, what do you have to lose? And what do you think that Monroe stands to gain when you become mayor and you can bring some of these ideas that you've heard so often in your cigar shop, all the potential that you see in this city, that you can be the person to deliver those things? And that was it. It's off to the races.
I've got to insert a compliment.
Come on.
All right. So I've been saying this to tons of people that would have a reason to listen to me say this.
Yeah.
Our Monroe PD is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they are just,
Yeah.
and I encounter them quite often
Yeah.
in what I do with, car accidents and, various other situations. There was an officer parked in the parking lot yesterday. I don't know if they were writing a report or whatever,
Yeah.
or just friendly. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Everybody that I've encountered with Monroe Police Department
Yep.
has been so professional,
Yeah.
so communicative,
Yeah.
so just engaging.
Yeah.
I recently met Sean Reddick.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and then his son Hunter.
Yeah.
Also, Hunter's his son's name,
Yeah.
right? He provides security for the St. Fred's football games.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him a few times, and then this is like anecdotal, but more broadly, like my encounters with Monroe PD have just been incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to throw anybody under the bus or whatever, because I guess I just really never even really paid attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now it's like there's a enhanced level of professionalism, and I notice it.
Yeah.
And I mentioned a couple officers there. I guess Flip Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean,
my guy.
that guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And anyway, I want to give you a compliment with that. I don't think I've ever met Chief Sorden.
Yeah. He just, by the way, won Police Chief of the Year last night for the regional
You're kidding.
First Responder Awards. Yeah. So one of the biggest felt needs here in this community when I came into office, and look, I don't try to mince words here. We had a violent crime issue in the city of Monroe when we came in, one of the biggest felt needs that we had. And I understood that, for that to happen, you've had to increase your training. You said professionalism. One of the things that when Chief Sorden was interviewing for this job, former DEA director over this region, when he came in, he said professionalism, training, writing reports, community policing, building relationships within your community with your folks. And it starts at the top, right? And when you do that and you instill professionalism and pride and service and understanding that your job is based upon the relationships that you build, and then giving the officers the complete freedom to do their jobs in a professional manner, right? That they don't have to look over their shoulder because that the mayor has some kind of personal philosophy on policing. I understand professionalism. I don't understand what men and women have to do every single day to hunt down folks that are bad actors in this community, because I could see the rap sheets. And so Chief Zordon took over. Year over year, we've had about a 10 to 12% increase year over year in our staffing. I told him, you keep hiring until I tell you to stop. Also better equipment, even their vehicles that you see, that they're in them every single day, that takes pride in service, pride in uniforms. I'm an old Marine. I mean, we pride ourselves in the details, and little things matter, right? You can't do the little things right, can't do the big things right. And
stuff being clean and looking clean.
He set the tone of what will be accepted and what won't be accepted. And when he set the tone and let cops go do their jobs in a professional manner, and then hold folks accountable that don't, you see a completely different aspect. Now you've got other municipalities, sometimes even our own fire department, losing folks to come to work for Monroe PD because the attitude has changed of what it meant to be a Monroe police officer, and that pride came back in that uniform, and they're holding each other accountable within the department to that standard. You know what I mean? And we have seen every single year over year, violent crime decreases. When I got in office, there were 23 homicides. At the end of that year, we took over half the year. Last year, we ended the year with 8. And it's year over year. You could just see it falling. And this year, we're also seeing another decrease in violent crime in Monroe. And so I tell people all the time, this environment took a long time to get where we were at, but we are nowhere near where we came from. And that's all because of, I'm going to tell you, you give me kudos. I give kudos to the police chief, to all the officers over there, day in, day out. The Heat team, shout out Heat team. They are out there, but it has to do with building relationships with your community. Now that they show up in situations, the community is talking because they know that Monroe Police will do what they said they were going to come do, and that trust in that is being built now. And used to be that you roll up in there and they're like, nobody saw anything, but now it's like It's like, no, let me tell you what happened.
Over there.
Yeah, because people are tired of it. Yeah. But they just want to know that the police are going to follow through what they want to follow through with. Even on the court side of things, they say even the report writing has been so much better. That helps clear cases and to solve cases. And so, yeah, it's a brand new day. And I'm glad that you made mention to that, because I get it so many times. Like somebody told me the other day, I got pulled over, got a ticket, said, I actually walked away kind of okay because they were so nice, and it was just they were professional and did their job. So it's been a big change over there.
I mean, I think I think that the only thing I can attribute it to is Chief Zordon. Yeah, I mean, I'm not that involved in Monroe PD, nor do I want to be. It's been a noticeable thing for me. Yeah, and which I do encounter police probably more frequently than the average bear. Yeah. We have like accidents out here, like
I know. You
every
18-wheeler turnover over there with like logs and stuff. I know. Yeah, that curve has always been that intersection's always been the craziest intersection for me. But anyway,
it's a terrible intersection.
Maybe that's one thing I could fix while I'm in office. Maybe so.
This fall, they're taking celebration to a whole new level of heart. Sign Gypsies Twin Cities is booing for a cause. Their famous Boo Yard signs are back, and this year, your Halloween spirit can help save lives. A portion of every Boo sign goes directly to Pilots for Patients, a Louisiana nonprofit that provides medical flights for patients in need. Here's how to join the fun. Visit www.signgypsies.com, choose your custom Boo sign, and get ready to spread smiles and support a powerful cause. It's available through Halloween night, but supplies disappear faster than ghosts in the moonlight. So gather your friends, light your pumpkins, and boo it forward with Sign Gypsies Twin Cities. Because when celebration meets purpose, magic happens.
But yeah, no, it goes back to that's the philosophy you have to take. And those are, we talk about getting in office and some of the goals and priorities. That was one of them for the community. But one of the ones that really doesn't need money to fix was the general disposition or attitudes about our city and the direction that it was heading in, right? While I still understand there's still a shelf life for politicians, right, and people who run for public office, I still believe that there is higher optimism about where we are, not only in Monroe, but in West Monroe and Sterlington and Richwood. You start to see all of these entities working together right now, parish police jury, everybody towing in the same direction. The region is all aligned. I think there is better optimism. People are more optimistic about the future of our region and what's about to happen. And it's not coincidence that you're seeing companies now expanding here in Monroe. Mid-South, within a year, has been through 2 multi-million-dollar expansions. You see Lexicon that is expanding right now, doubling their capacity. They've got about 3 million square feet of the 4 million square foot facility at Meta's building in Richland Parish. And you're starting to see a lot of those old for sale signs on I-20. You're lucky to find one left right now, and you see sticks going in the air. Those are jobs. Those are things happening. Small businesses, the number of occupational permits being pulled, licenses being pulled are increasing. Sales taxes are increasing. So the health of this city is growing, and that just means people are able to pursue their dreams here, right? Whether how big or how small, that it may be. And it just gives me hope, man, that what we've done has left a positive impact.
Let me ask you this: sales tax. By how much do you think sales tax will increase over the next 2 or 3 years?
So we're seeing right now, this past year, about a 5% increase on the safe side. We always like to project a little conservatively. I would say closer to 10. By the time you think about it, there's about 1,500 people on that site right now in Richland Parish. You see all the white trucks, company trucks from out of state here in our community. You know what those men and women are doing? They're at our restaurants, they're at our bars, they're shopping at our small businesses, they're filling up at our gas stations, they're buying groceries here. There's about to be 7,000 people here in April in this region.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're going to be living in Richland Parish. They're going to be coming over here on the weekends to do what they need to do. That they're about to start running 24-hour shifts out there. So that is a lot of income.
So 1,500 people translates to 5%, and you're going to have like a 3x. So potentially 15-20% increase.
Yeah, I'm sticking at 10. Because when you run listen, I'll stick to 10 because when you run your budget, right, you want to be able to do it conservatively.
Spend less than what you made.
That's right, because at the end of the year, everybody's always scrambling, going like, here's some things that we need, or you may run over a little bit, and we always try to budget conservatively. But I saw a report the other day from an economist that states that probably in the next 10 years, we're going to see a bump in our region of about 8,000 to 10,000 new residents, permanent residents. Nobody's really talking about, we're talking about the impact immediately that Meta's going to have just from the building. But the thing nobody's talking about are the suppliers and vendors who will be here for the long haul of this development. That's right. If you were to capture every single one of those, that means an additional $18 billion in new investment capex, 4,000 new jobs, and those folks may have a trailing spouse. Mm-hmm. So you think about that number and think about the people. What if that spouse has a what do you call it? They're part of the mobile workforce now, and they bring that income here, or they backfill an open job that somebody has been trying to fill here. That's just more disposable income falling back. And people are like, well, Mayor, do you think our region can handle an additional 20,000 people? I said, well, yes.
Tomorrow?
We're getting back to where we were 30 years ago when we had State Farm and Guide and all of these, and Lumen was running 2,500 people on campus, right? Mm-hmm. So we're just getting back to where we were, and we're making up for those lost opportunities. And so it's ours to lose right now.
Are there any new companies that I don't know if they would be in talks with your administration or?
Yeah,
you guys, can you share some of that?
It's wild. So
or are we talking top secret?
Well, you sign NDAs with a lot of these folks, but what I can tell you is just some activity that's going on. To understand where we are, you got to understand where we were. When we came into office, there were two economic development organizations that were kind of territory turf war going on right here for Northeast Louisiana. One that the business and industry folks were paying into, one that the state recognized as our economic development organization. And anytime a prospect would come up here, you had these two entities kind of warring over who's going to, run with the ball. Horrible environment to operate in. And so we had to come together. I said we. So I called a couple mayors in the region, called in the university and the community college and said, this ain't working. We have got to find another direction. So I called some business and industry folks that were paying into this other group. Table like this, a lot of red faces around the table. Mayor, this will not work. You're not going to find a quality person. You're never going to be able to raise enough money. You're never going to find the right person. Well, hear me now, believe me later is what I told them. We can't continue to do what we're doing. That's the definition of insanity. Where are the pelts on the wall? Where are the new businesses that are coming here? We kind of fired the organization that business and industry was coming in. Gave a good soft landing spot for the organization that the state recognized, with LED, the governor, and all the folks involved to say, here's the new organization. A big thanks to folks like the university, Entergy, all the folks that were playing in this to come together to say, okay, we put out a job search, got the guy they said we would never hire. He came in, built his team. Brother, they are moving. They are moving right now. And so
Who is that?
So it's Grow Nela. You should, if you want to find anything going on with economic development in our region, they represent 10 parishes in this region. And Rob Cleveland is the CEO and president of Grow Nela. And it's Grow Nela. Look them up on Facebook, and you will find all of the meetups for contractors trying to get plugged in, all of the opportunities they talk about if you own property, how to get it certified for these economic prospects. And so they're doing a ton of work. There are 3 people running this show, and they are killing it right now. So you asked about other opportunities. Yes. The challenge for Monroe has always been, everybody goes, we got an airport, we got a river, we got all these things, but it does you no good if you don't have sites that are ready, shovel ready. Not the fact that somebody owns a piece of property off I-20. Mm-hmm. The fact that they are shovel ready. They've been permitted. They've been mitigated. They've been certified. They're in the state's inventory. So when people come to the state, they know what's going on. It's like, what good is being a used car salesman if you just got a bunch of car parts laying around? You need a car to sell, right? Yeah. So it was time for us to.
It's kind of like a fixer-upper house. I mean, like you see them for sale all the time.
Yeah.
In good areas and in bad, and it's like nobody wants to buy it because
that's right.
There's like a 18-month process to live there.
So it goes back to all of this. It's cleaning up processes, right? The same way in Monroe. Same way with we talked about Monroe PD. You got to find leadership that it's their job every single day to make better the thing that you're in charge of, right? Same way. There was no way that I could trust that an organization out of Shreveport was giving 100% of their time to represent Monroe, Louisiana.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
They're a great organization. Love them. Didn't have the bandwidth to cover us, right? And so now that we have somebody running point on that, helping us make the right decisions to best prepare and position our region for growth, we've got it now. And what you're seeing is a global spotlight being put on our region. Companies that are trying to set up around it. And thank God that we have worked on the unsexy infrastructure like water, sewer, drainage, roads that can be able to support this new infrastructure. Look at LED's new post they've had about our region. They talk about the investments that Monroe, Louisiana has made in infrastructure, over $120 million in infrastructure that we've cut ribbon on, $320 million in infrastructure in the pipeline, right? You're talking about $500 million in infrastructure. That is, I say $1 billion, $500 billion in infrastructure. That's. I keep saying billion because I keep thinking meta in my head. $500 million. Everybody's going, where'd that money go anyway? So words matter, Mayor. But I'm telling you, it's crazy to think that it is,
Well, take Monroe Water, for example. I recall reading articles about our water plant.
Yeah.
And you rolled out some improvements with our water plant. I mean, how many people live off of Monroe Water?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny, economic development isn't complicated. There's a few things you got to need. We talked about a site readiness, right? Well, we selected the site. What do you need next? You need water and sewer. If I can't give you a will serve letter for water and sewer, that's the next thing you're going to be kicked out. And so those upgrades, and even if it's just as simply as housing stock, right? We had a couple developments here who couldn't pull permits because we had no capacity in water and sewer to serve them.
You're talking about
we were tapped.
Residential developers?
Oh yeah, brand new apartment complexes that we couldn't build because we could not provide sewer. There was a sewer trunk. We have 3 major sewer trunk lines that take waste to our sewer treatment plant. One was clogged over 75 to 80% for over 9,000 feet. So 15 years ago, I worked at the city of Monroe as a construction inspector. A lot of people don't know that. I worked in the engineering department. Shout out Arthur Holland. He was my boss. He's still working for the city now. But 9,000 feet. And if my Richland Parish math that I grew up in Rayville is correct, that's almost 2 miles, okay? Clogged.
Wow.
And so we had to go in. That's one of our first jobs. That was a $12, $14 million project that we moved 18 feet below subgrade, ran under 28 homes, a school. I mean, this was intricate work.
Wow.
Went in. Now we're into phase 2 to doing point repairs to this thing. Congresswoman Letlow, a lot of people gave money to this to be able to fix it, but we knew we had to move fast. Our second of 2 of 3, the Hadley line, had a collapse in front of OCC. We had to fix it and redo that whole stretch of pipe. So there we were putting out fires left and right, but it had not been for that, we couldn't give will serve letters. It's very simple. A lot of things, and that's why I try to tell folks. So many people say, I would love to have X, Y, and Z. I would love these investments in public parks and all these things too. Look, I would too, but it's hard to convince people that every time it rained 2 inches, they had sewer backing up in their homes, to convince them why we spent, $20, $30 million improving our parks when
you still don't have a functioning sewer.
Sewer backing up in their homes every time it rained. How am I to justify that? So there's needs and there's needs and there's wants, right? And you have to figure out, and talk about these decisions you make that are pretty unpopular, and people wonder why. Well, I wonder why this hadn't happened. Well, the city has finite resources to be able to fix things, and you have to make the decision on what's most important, right? And so the way I look at things is you fix the things that can create disposable income, create opportunity, create that money being dumped and recirculated back into your community, right? To then, when that money is being recirculated, you build up your general fund, you build up your infrastructure dollars to then build the above ground stuff that people see and go, ooh and ah, because we spent a lot of time in my first term fixing things that nobody can see. All underground drainage, ditching, retention and detention ponds that live out of the sight of the public, sewer treatment plant investment, water treatment plant investment, $120 some odd million in infrastructure upgrades. Probably now that number's closer to 200 million because some of those were out under construction. Mm-hmm. We just hadn't cut ribbon on them yet. And so a lot of stuff, but we understand now that the community helped us pass a 1% sales tax not too long ago. So we're putting together a bond package that now we can build the pretty things, because now that we have all these people moving into our community, we want to create a quality of life for them that they're going to expect. A lot of these families are going to be coming from large NFL markets, and they're going to have a quality of life that they want to see when they bring their families here. Mm-hmm. And I know anytime that we've moved out of town, the first thing we do is look at school districts. 2, we also looked at public parks and amenities and things for our families to do on the weekends, mm-hmm. right? And so now what you're going to see is, now that we fixed all the unsexy things, now it's an opportunity that the community has given us to, now we've got a bond package coming out with roads, potholes, roads, big deal, and ditching, like getting these ditches back in line for
where we get rid of the
flooding.
rain. Yeah.
Yeah. So that big infrastructure upgrades to the sewer treatment plant, and a very large investment into our parks and recreation systems, to where our public parks are some of the I want them to be some of the best in the state. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. What about the dwellings? Obviously the city's not going to build houses, right?
No.
But I mean, how are we going to build? Mm-hmm. Well, here's something that
there's method to the madness.
I'm like just talking like I don't
come on.
I don't know anything. I'm just trying to figure it out.
That is a great question.
We have like what you said, 7,000 souls coming to this region.
Yeah.
And if my math is correct, we don't have just an extra 7,000.
Mayor. Yeah.
We don't have 7,000 dwellings.
So
we're gonna put them in bunk beds like in City Hall or something.
So the method to the madness, right? People sometimes have questions. They want to know why, and that's why these are great opportunities for us to talk. I know that the city just doesn't have large swaths of land like the parish does to be able to build these residential. So the only way that we can do that in the city of Monroe is to what? Go vertical, right? So we need to go vertical. Historic Candy Company downtown was an opportunity for us to do mixed use, do apartment complex, hotel type development to go up, right? Even before Meta announced, you had 1,000 kids from VCOM that are here in our community looking for quality places to live. We knew we could take advantage of going vertical. Our challenge for the last 4 years has always been interest rates and construction prices, and they have been killing everybody. Our historic downtown offers a little bit of relief for developers because there's historic tax credits that can offset some of those increases. So what it is they'll get a historic tax credit that they'll sell on the market as a form of a tax credit that they can sell off.
So like, are you talking about like a state credit or a federal credit?
Both. Some qualify for state, some qualify for state and federal. And that can be up to, I think, like 60% of the construction cost for those things that keep that building historic: facade, windows, anything that's immovable that keeps its historic, character that's unique to that building.
I guess that would make it look like it would have looked 60 years ago.
Yeah, you start to see a lot of that development, like Hotel Monroe, some of the apartments downtown, some of the infill that you're seeing that some of our friends are working on right now that you see happening in downtown Monroe. Mm-hmm. But there will be, in my opinion, the biggest opportunity we have is going vertical through apartment style living, and that's where, like it or not, this next generation of young men and young women and young professionals they prefer that style living. Some of them don't want a yard to go mow. Some of them these young kids want to be within walking distance of coffee shops, nightlife, shopping, the river, dinner, all the things that they can do, and not really. We have to get away from the way it's always been to get to what is the market demand for young professionals, right? And most feedback loops that we've been able to tap into, college students, young professionals, traveling the country with peers, these 20-something, 30-somethings, they want downtown living, and that's coming back. And so that's where we know that we can make hay. And so my vision would be to have folks living in our downtowns, walking, visiting our shops, and having something that's bikeable, walkable, beautiful place that people can live.
Boatable?
And boatable, yes. The marina, we're in. It got shut down after Baltimore, obviously the collapse of the bridge. And then we're having to go through a new design checklist to go through the Corps of Engineers.
Oh, okay.
So it's going through a minor redesign.
So there's been updates to standards for that kind of development.
Well,
because of the Baltimore Bridge incident.
Yeah, so it's going through a whole new review process that we're working with the Corps of Engineers right now and some shippers to just do a redesign to give them a little more breathing room as they move up, to be sure that commercial traffic and recreational traffic can live together. And so. Downtown Development District already has that funded. Mm-hmm. It's $4.5 million marina that's going to be built there. Probably going to be
where at?
Right behind the river market. Right there. Yeah, so right there, so people can go. And if you think about it, it'll
pull
have
up and get on the
fuel slip.
Walk.
You can get cold pops, ice, the whole nine. You'll have fuel slips there. If you,
Dude, this is free. That will be so cool.
yeah.
I
well,
mean,
and let's hopefully cross our fingers.
that happens.
One day. Oh, it's not a matter if, it's a matter now. It's just when that gets built. It's fully funded by Downtown Development District.
Awesome.
They've already got the thing funded. We were 6 weeks from driving pylons for the thing, and then Baltimore Bridge happened and it got shut down.
wow.
Yep. So anyway, it's a matter of when, and cross your fingers. And if you notice the design, and I'm probably going to give away too much, my goal is to work with Downtown Development District and the city of West Monroe to bring back the Twin City Queen, a version
Like
of the Twin City Queen.
Like a cruise.
Dinner
like
cruises. Yeah.
That's cool.
Up and down the river, and find somebody to do a kind of a management operations out of that, to where that, it's
Somebody can make a business out of that.
correct, and not have the city compete with their business.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you can go out, and then folks can rent it and do whatever they need to do. So again, that's one of our goals too, to bring that kind of thing back, because those were things that were iconic to Monroe, things that people still remember. And so really, if you've noticed, again, some of the things that we're doing is we're giving back to the communities things that we've systematically lost over time. The butterfly at Forsyth Park's coming back. You see Brooke Foy working on that. That brought so much joy to people. Mm-hmm. Twin City Queen, activity along the river, right? All the things that we're trying to make investments are things that our families once held, special about this place, that can bring back a little pride.
That's
back
exciting to me. I mean,
Yeah.
like the river, to me, the river and the bayou, but the river especially,
Yeah.
it's such a special thing that we have. And I have so many memories of, like, learn how to kneeboard and wakeboard and inner tube and, weekends out there with my friends and stuff and having fun. And it's like, I feel like, I know there's still some activity out there, but I feel like it's just not the same.
We had more assets that we could take advantage of. And I have been talking with Ray Wright in our parks. There used to be a beachhead there at Forsyth Park. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Very long beachhead. So we've got to get with Tensall Levee Basin and the Corps to be sure how to rebuild this beachhead back again. Lazar used to have and Tutti Frutti and all that used to have all these big beachheads and have all these amenities where people could, now there's paddle boards and kayaks, but people could at least boat to it and hang out and have those activities. It's not for the lack of people owning ski boats here. We've already checked wildlife fisheries. There's a lot of boats that are owned in this parish right now, ski boats and recreation boats, pontoon boats. You have to create opportunities and spaces for people to gather. And without those assets, where are you going to go hang out on a beachhead now?
Well, and like, to your point, I mean, if I had I would want to go to the river more. It's like I get out there and it's like, then the kids want to go get something to eat or go to drink, or they want to get off the boat for a while. And it's like, okay, well, where am I going to do that?
Yeah. And but you have to provide those opportunities for them to do, maybe program it, right? I have a friend of mine that he hosts events on the San Marcos in Texas. He calls it River Revival, and he hosts concerts and all kinds of things. It's like a 3-day festival that really just highlights, water sports. Thing that you don't know, that a lot of the public, we could probably do a better job of promoting this, but the CVB has worked with the city of Monroe and West Monroe. So I was asked to go speak at the Heartland Summit up in Bentonville, Arkansas for Walmart, and we were talking with some colleagues. And while I was there, I heard about their world-class mountain bike trails. And they call it the mountain bike capital of the world, right? That's what they've coined themselves. And I came back and I said, well, okay, then why can't we do the same thing for kayak and paddleboarding and be the kayak and paddleboard destination of the South, right? And so they got with North Delta Regional Planning and the CVB and the kayak community and paddleboard community, and they've already created paddleboard trails here. And they now have these QR codes and places that tell you a little bit about the area. They have maps for you to do, your kind of like your skill level that you could take, and places to paddleboard. The goal would be to be able to promote that to the public, and the city of West Monroe have started working on vetting vendors that could do kayak and paddleboard share the same way that you do bike share and scooter share downtown, where you have a kiosk and you can go rent that, because not everybody has $2,000 or $1,500, and you probably want to try it out before you want to do that. And so you can have lockers where you can hit your card and you can rent a paddleboard or a kayak and go have that activity with your family. And then from there, you can expand it to all the other parks and recreation activities. You can go to mountain bikes, you can go to golf clubs, you can do all the things we do and have one membership. One of the companies that we vetted was like $100 a month. I'm sorry, $100 a year. Back that up. $100 a year that you could pay into for $100 a year. Mm-hmm. And you can go use your membership and just get all the things that you need to do at all of our public recreation places. And so it's one of those little quality of life things that you can provide for your residents and just easy thing for us to do, to build that quality of life.
There's not a huge investment. I mean, there's something, you got to buy the paddleboard and you got to buy the paddles, I guess.
Or you can rent it. No, they'll have it in a locker.
No, I'm saying the development of that isn't.
No, soft launches.
Not a lot to that.
Look, for the city too, soft launches. Think about soft launches over there by the university. That's beautiful. Bayou Desert over there by the university is just beautiful. And so anyway, so we're looking for those quality of life things to do to like capture this new wave of people that will be coming in. And then think about it. These kids, their kids will be in our schools. They'll be in our neighborhoods. Their volunteerism will be here in our communities. And again, it's just building, this region back up. But of course, I'm the mayor of Monroe. We want them all to live here. But it's our job to just welcome them and get them connected wherever they choose to live.
And even if they don't live here or can't live here, I mean, if they can come here and spend some tax money here, that'd be great.
Oh, I know. And it's like I said, it's already happening. You're calling it 15%. I call it 10. Yeah. Well, let's do this again. Let's do this again in 2 years and 3 years, and then we'll figure out like who was right. We'll get a steak dinner on it.
So So is there any other like big, huge $1 trillion projects going on?
Yeah. Well, Amtrak. Everybody wants to know about Amtrak, and so recently, Neil Reiser and I were put on the Southern Rail Commission. We're the two new commissioners for the state of Louisiana. And, we're in the process right now of moving it through FRA's track to get stations. And so what people need to know, it's not a matter of if it happens now. Again, it's a matter of when. We're in the pipeline of projects. We're on FRA's updated maps. Ultimately, this I-20 rail will connect Atlanta to Dallas. And the only thing keeping Atlanta to be connected to Dallas is a stretch between Meridian, Mississippi, and Marshall, Texas. If you connect those two spaces with passenger rail and the host rail allows it to go through, which it has, you've now effectively connected Atlanta to Dallas through rail. In my opinion, we would be silly if we don't start thinking once this route rolls to start upgrading to high-speed rail between Atlanta to Dallas, getting you there within a matter of hours, right? We would be foolish if we don't think 30 years down the road.
What is high speed? I mean, it sounds like you know something about it. I mean,
yeah,
how
so
fast
high speed,
talking?
you're talking 160. Sometimes these things can go up to 200 miles an hour on the rail. But there's serious timing, host rail things that you would have to do. I mean, there's some.
Like, are you saying that they're like switching off between like freight rail and.
Yeah. Yeah, so you would have, your host rail is your freight rail, and what runs through here is CPKC. Okay. Kansas City Southern and Canadian Pacific merged, so now they're CPKC. And so you would, the train would run on the same tracks, and then they would just pull off on the side track to be able to load people on in case another train has to roll through and just goes through. I think they call it, I'm trying to remember the name of the rail, but you're about to be able to connect New York to D.C. in a matter of 3 hours on high-speed rail. Oh, wow. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
5 hours now?
Yeah, it's unbelievable what's about to happen. I'm trying to remember the name of that route. But anyway, it's most used, and it's about to open. It's to be high-speed rail to connect the two cities. And if we're not thinking to connect Atlanta to Dallas through high-speed rail, two of the largest mega populations in the United States, we're silly. And that's going to run through Monroe.
Yeah, it makes everything... I mean, we're on the same, if Dallas and Atlanta is in the same community.
Absolutely.
Then we're on the same level as New York or L.A.
Yeah, but if you think about it from a workforce standpoint too, they have to pass through our city, right? if you think about what's happening between Georgia and Texas off I-20 with these large data center investments, tons in Texas, the largest AI data center being built in Richland Parish, Madison, Mississippi, Meridian, Mississippi, Atlanta, all through these corridors, Alabama, all of these it is a digital freeway right now. And that workforce to be able to connect those campuses with workers, it's going to be insane. And we have an opportunity to do it right now. And so
once all these data centers are built, excuse me, once all the data centers are built, what's the next mega deal on the horizon?
Yeah. So what I tell people is these are companies that are making these investments are really building the brains and the central nervous system to a larger global network of AI. Don't think of it just a data center. I'm a bit of a geek, and I own a pair of Meta glasses. Have you seen those? So the new ones, the new generation.
I haven't seen the new generation. I've had people like in this office with those.
You ready to be geeked out real quick? Heads-up display on the lens. It has a neural band on your arm that if I want to take a picture of you and I want to zoom in, all I got to do is just twist my hand like this and it'll zoom in and out. If I want to turn the volume on, you can train it to how you want it. If it's a crowded room and I want to listen to you, it's got directional listening. And it can be I can sit here and take notes while you talk to me, and it takes it in text form, right? If it's in a situation where I can't just tell it what to do while you're talking to me, and you're talking to me, I'm just taking notes. Or I can train it to take notes however I want to take it, and you just hit send, and it sends the text to yourself as notes that you're taking. It's crazy what's about to happen. So data center is more there. Think about the advancements that AI will have in medicine, our basic lives of how it's going to help applications for small business and business suites. But all of this data that it populates needs a place to live and breathe, right? It needs to be stored in these large data centers,
The
right?
device isn't large enough to store it all.
So what this is the engine to the car. This is the central nervous system, and we own, our region is the home to this application from Meta. I think this one is going to deal with Llama, is one of their most used applications for AI that has all kinds of applications out there now that helps, and suites and tools that it's helping advance medicine, helping advance business suites, you name it, it's out there doing the work, and it's Meta's version, right? And they're competing, applications from all these other industries, but people just think of it as a house with a lot of servers and things like that, right? Big building, a lot of servers. But it's like the engine to your car, and your car can't go anywhere without the engine. And, I tell people, there are a lot of people that are worried about, what the future looks like for AI. I said, but, I remember everybody saying that the internet was going to kill us all, and that Y2K, everybody was going to, the world was going to burn, and all these things. I say, what we're doing, it's just an advanced version of what we've already got, right? And there will always be people that will use technology for good or bad, right? You can't stop, people from doing whatever they want to do with technology. Watched a video the other day. A guy was wearing a pair of Meta glasses, and he was HVAC technician, and he was going to work on this mini split, and it was in, I guess, Chinese. He didn't have the manual. He couldn't figure it, whatever. And I don't know
So Meta,
what they do.
Transcribed it for him?
He took a picture. It transcribed it. He read the model and who made it, and said he's out there with his own meter and he's doing all the other things. He said, yeah, here's your issue right here. Here, check for these possible issues, fixed. And it read him the part of the manual that he was trying to look for.
That's
how many,
incredible.
how my own meter, what should it be reading here, right? Whatever. Then if that's it, here's the fault, right? Nuts what it's going to be able to do for a small startup that doesn't have.
I mean, just the applications that are available right now have made my occupation like so much
absolutely
easier.
Yeah.
Now, I still have I still got to read what it puts out. I still got to make sure, like like if it cites a case or something, I'll go back and I'll pull that case and I'll review it and make sure.
But you're not sitting there trying to find this case.
It's already,
this thing instantly gets it, and then you
right
take
there.
it and do what you need to do with it.
Absolutely.
Right? It makes you more efficient. It makes you more responsive to your clients. And again, it's not, in my opinion, you don't use it to replace somebody. You use it to help somebody be more efficient in their job, to where they can take on new tasks, be more efficient with what they do. And if you are a startup and you don't have the money for 3 or 4 other people, it helps you be more efficient, that you can get more work because you can move on from this job that you fixed quicker on to the next, and you can have more accounts throughout the day. And so I do believe that artificial intelligence will be the next arms race in our communities, not only for just AI dominance in the globe, but the technology that's going to spin off from it in real world applications, whether it be a new set of meta glasses, because these aren't meta glasses, but somebody's got to make the lens, somebody's got to make the plastic that goes with it, somebody's got to make those products that go into this, and all the products that spawn off of it will create opportunities for communities to capture those things that will create jobs and opportunities. And so it's for us to kind of ride that wave, to understand what these data centers and what new technologies and or life applications that it will provide, and to be able to position your community to capture those in the form of jobs and production.
Well, and along that, and that's kind of where I'm going with the question is, so, and I'm not trying to make a statement about Trump, for Trump, against Trump. I'm not like, and I don't think I don't know what your thoughts are.
Let me tell you something. Okay. Way I look at it is this:
he's a force.
You've got to be able to give people credit when they get it right, and then be able to take criticism where people think you got it wrong, right? I am not above giving praise or giving pushback for anybody, and I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on. If it advances, like the other day, look, I'll give you a prime example, not to cut you off. Prime example. We were the first city in Louisiana to Monroe was to bridge the digital divide. We'll be the first city in Louisiana that solves the digital divide for all of its residents. Every business, every citizen will have access to 5 gigs of fiber. Yep. Through our AT&T thing. We were the first city to do it through a public-private partnership. And while other folks are talking about it and figuring out how to solve it, we did it. And in 3 years, everyone will have access. Everyone will have access and affordable access for those who may need help. But I say all that to say this: I got letters from the president of LED, secretary of LED. Workforce, we've got Republicans, Democrats, we've got everybody giving us praise for this. Well, all of a sudden, I've got a friend of mine who just happens to be a Democrat. And he said, "Thank you for your vision, leadership."
Friends that are Democrats?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, come on. But here's what's interesting. His phone blew up. People calling him said, "What are you doing giving this guy credit? Why are you giving him credit?" He's like, "Well, last time I checked, our bylaws said that as long as a candidate that's either independent, no party, right, that's advancing the goals of the Democratic Party, meaning digital equity was a huge goal for the Democratic Party, right? And something," he said, "we should praise people who are doing good things for their community, whether we agree with their politics or not on the side. We should say thank you for doing this." And he got ate up. Like completely ate up. And I'm like, that shouldn't happen, right? There are people that I fundamentally disagree on certain issues that I could turn around and say, you know what, this is where we're aligned, and you made that happen. Good for you. Like we should not be afraid to give people praise, regardless of what side of the aisle they sit on, if they're doing something that benefits your community or your nation. And so anyway,
or humanity.
Yeah, or humanity. So I got to get off my soapbox for a second, but man, we got too many people who are just afraid to say good job, regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on.
Well, I can tell you this. I got 2 boys at home, that
Yeah.
love playing on their Xbox.
Yeah.
And Comcast just ain't cutting it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're coming for you. You're gonna get home today and your internet's gonna be so much slower.
Hey, but AT&T's coming in our neighborhood right now, and they're doing the
Fiber,
the directional boring and all that.
Yeah.
And they hit one of our water lines.
I think I got a call on this the other day.
It wasn't for me. I mean, it wasn't.
And then the city workers came back out and hit it again. Is that you?
Well, it happened on Lake Desert.
Okay.
I don't know if that's.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sorry.
So, I mean, this was like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 o'clock one night, and these guys are working like, to into the dark.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, go guys, go, all right.
Yeah.
And they hit that line, and the guy comes out. He's in my driveway.
Yeah.
And so I go out there and talk to him. I was like, so what happened? He's like, well, you see where they marked the line?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. He said, well, you see where it's leaking water?
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Well, what that guy probably won't tell you is if you're within a certain distance of that line, they give you a little, he probably watched you see anyway. So,
I mean, it was a good 10 feet.
oh, yeah. Oh, never mind. Yeah, they screwed up.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. What's funny is somebody told me one time, a good friend of mine who buries cable too, he says, you want to know how important internet is? I said, yeah. He goes, I'm going to give you a very simple example. He said, we go through and we bore. He said, you can hit somebody's water line, somebody might come out. You hit somebody's sewer line. He said, you hit somebody's fiber or their cable. He said, man, they're going to come out with a frying pan telling you to connect that thing. He said, so if you want to know the importance of that type of infrastructure for your community, we need to start thinking of, digital access and broadband access the same way we think about delivering water and sewer and drainage and other utilities for families, because we're very dependent upon it for work, school, all the things that we need to survive. And man, that was a big deal for us. But no, you were talking about President Trump earlier.
All right. All right. So going back to that, though, I guess what I'm seeing is an opportunity for us, and I'm sure I'm not saying anything that you haven't thought of, but with the tariff situation, okay, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, if we're going to have tariffs, then that means we're going to have manufacturers looking for domestic sites to manufacture.
Yeah, that's right.
So
you're already starting to see it.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is like, okay, this meta thing's great, wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, what's the next thing?
Yeah.
That's really my question.
If you start to notice, I always try to figure out the way that different people move, and especially when I say move money. You're seeing articles right now where CEOs of company are really moving into like biomedical type research, pharmaceutical research. I think the next wave would be onshoring and reshoring pharmaceuticals in our country. I saw something the other day that said that we almost have zero production of penicillin in the States. Most of it is manufactured in China. Speaking of Trump, I always love it. It was crazy how he says China. But yeah, everything's manufactured. So can you imagine what it means for, the basic form. Let's just say, God forbid, another conflict or war breaks out and you need penicillin for our troops. These type of vaccinations and other things that we get when we go into other countries, like if you think about that, almost zero of that is produced in the U.S. And so in my opinion, I think that's, and who better suited for that than a community that has a biomedical research park that's about to open up, a pharmacy school with research capability here in Northeast Louisiana, and you've got Tulane, you've got ULL that also have pharmacy capabilities, and you have the opportunity for us to start producing them in Louisiana here. I think that is a huge opportunity for the state of Louisiana to really be tip of the spear on this because of our public institutions and private pharmacy institutions. For for that to happen, that's way above my playing field right now. I know what we can do locally to kind of help and promote those things. But if you start to think about, another thing, popular, unpopular, but military applications, if you think about the I-20 again, and this route that we're talking about, and the number of DOD facilities that it touches, like Shreveport, you've got Meridian, Mississippi, you've got other installations. You start going into Birmingham and to Huntsville, and you start talking FBI and all these other folks and Space Force and all the other. Okay. There's a thing called the StrictNet, which is it's rail for troops and all kinds of other things. And if you look at the I-20 corridor again, you can look at it as a strong defense corridor for us. So you've seen the president talk about growing our military presence. Also, you can be able to capture wage grade workers that work for DOD in certain facilities. Lumen building, right? You see what I'm saying? Like we have the opportunity. And then even more strategically, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he appropriates a lot of money for defense. He covers Ouachita Parish and parts of our area. So thinking about, this I-20 corridor as a defense corridor as well. So if we could capture pharmaceutical manufacturing and production for military application, you got to be laser focused. You can't be everything to everybody. So if you start to get laser focused and be very specific about what you're trying to go after, if you know there's a lot of money about to be spent in defense, then maybe we should start thinking about ways that we can capture some of that. Space Force will be growing and expanding. Lumen Building has enough fiber going into it that it could be some kind of command or have some type of presence between civilians and Space Force applications there. I mean, so we have to be very laser focused about what we want to be, but that's why it's important to have organizations like Grow NELA that will listen to all the mayor's crazy ideas and go, well, let's run those traps before we go headstrong into this. Is our region, set up for that kind of things? And that's what goes back to all of this thing, right? You've got to create the environment and put the people and things in places that help you achieve those goals and let them run economic development. Let the mayor stop playing chief economic developer here, right? While you can wear that hat, I don't have the optics and the experience and the chops that Grow NELA and all those folks have. Let your university be strong, right? And be strong in what they're in. And all of these pieces to this puzzle play together, right? Your community college, how can it set up? And for one time in a very long time, we have all pulling in the same direction, understanding where our lanes are, staying in our lanes, and working together to help each other be successful. And man, I'm going to tell you, I'm pumped about the future of our region. We are, as some regions have had the opportunity to have all of this before us, even in our early stages of everybody towing in line, it just seems like we're winning a lot, and this region is winning a lot, and there's just this, in my opinion, I think in the next 10 to 15 years, there will be an economic boom here that we haven't seen in a long time. What we can do as residents and what we can do as leaders is to help these folks that are here be successful, to help stand this development up in Richland Parish, to do it quickly while their people are here, love on them, help them, get them plugged in. And as soon as these folks start moving into our community, get them plugged into your chambers, to your churches, to your volunteer organizations. Get them plugged into your community and experience Monroe the way we experience it. And so they're going to understand why we love it so much, and they'll do it quickly. And once we do that, game over. I had an impromptu coffee meeting with somebody at Meta. They were in their comms department. They were bragging. They say the buzzword in corporate is Northeast Louisiana. Holly Ridge, Monroe. They're like, when are y'all going next? Can we go? Because I would guarantee you it's because they come here and they put their feet on this soil. They meet our people in coffee shops. They probably get on side-by-sides and wear the little hard hats and run around everywhere, and they go on duck hunts or they go on gator hunts or they go meet our people or eat in these little, gas stations with the best fried bologna sandwiches in the back, and they get to experience the things we know and love, right? They go to the Tasty Cream or they go, you go all the places that we know and love. And they go back and they brag on our region. And we know why it's special. Sometimes we lose sight of that. We get a little, we get a little accustomed to the way things are, and things aren't so fresh and exciting anymore. But I think, I truly believe that people come here and they see the natural beauty of Louisiana the same way I go to Colorado and look at those mountains and go, man, this is beautiful, because I'm seeing something new and it's not, worn out on me. I guarantee there's people wake up in Colorado every day and it's like, yeah, those are the mountains. In the same way we wake up every day and see Bayou Desert and some of the beautiful places in our area and go, yeah, that's Bayou Desert. But when somebody else comes to the university and stands at the president's office and looks over that bayou and sees that sunset fall on the bayou, and they're like, God, this is beautiful. Wow. You know what I mean? And so we have to realize that what we have is special. We got to fall in love with our community again. And we got to get our folks plugged in. And once that happens, man, I'm telling you, you and I are probably in a nursing home somewhere. I remember rental podcast we were having, you know what I mean? It's going to happen.
So this is your second term now, right?
Yeah.
How many years into your second term are we?
First year, second term.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got 3 more years on this term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it too early to talk about if you're going to run again? Or is that...
It's funny. I had that conversation yesterday.
It seems like you're going to run
Here's
again.
what's interesting. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I had this conversation yesterday with Nolan, and I said, the minute you take your eye off the ball, you get distracted, right? What's the old adage? When you're in that batter's box, what? Keep your eye on the ball. And when you start thinking of something else or what's next, that's when you lose sight of what your job is. And so the people of Monroe elected me this term. Next term's going to come up. I wholeheartedly plan on running for that. I love this job. I've said it 1,000 times. I wish people could feel what I feel when you know that you're somebody's mayor. To travel this country and you represent your hometown and the people of Monroe. Mayor is a very special job, and it's as close to the people as you can get. I mean, as close to the people as you can get. They know you. You stop you in a grocery store. It's like, see you out in town. You are their mayor. And when somebody says, that's my mayor, man, it's like getting a hug from your grandparents. You know what I mean? That you hadn't seen in a long time. It's really a special place, and I don't know if there's anything else that can really fulfill or really give me that fulfillment as this job as mayor. It's going to be
How do you view your opposition? I mean, clearly you have opposition in your role. I mean, I'm not trying to call anybody specifically out, but I mean, how do you view your representation of those individuals?
Yeah, so whether it be running for office or anything else, I said I'm here to serve people, not the interest of somebody else that's in politics, right? I'm here to serve people. And I'm going to keep moving forward in a manner that serves people, to not get distracted by these side conversations. When I ran for office, I never ran against anybody. I don't run against anybody. You can put King Kong up against me. I don't care, because it's not about King Kong. It's about people. And as long as you run for something and not against somebody, I think people recognize that. Because if you don't have any ideas to bring to the table and all you do is sit there and launch missiles and try to drag them down and make it about this knockdown, drag out, that's somewhere along the lines, people got to bring ideas to the table. They got to point back at something to say that they've done and proof of what they've done. There's always going to be opposition. I think it's up to the voters to kind of think about, dig through it and say, is this something that moves this city forward? And if you're focused on the things that don't move the city forward, then you should go to that individual and say, you probably need to shift your focus, because we put you into the office to be city council, mayor, parish police, police jury, whatever it is. We put you in office to deliver. Right? Mm-hmm. And if all we're doing is focusing on parliamentary tricks at city council that limit somebody's authority or power. I tell people all the time that's the difference between leadership and authority. Authority is self-interest, right? It's ego-fed. Leadership is always about people you serve, and that's where I'm going to stay. A lot of times people are like, Mayor, I don't understand how you just sit there and are so calm, in the middle of all of this chaos. And I go, well, number one, I represent you, and I don't want to do anything or say anything that embarrasses the city, that embarrasses my family, or embarrasses the people that have poured so much time and energy into me. I always feel as if
I would say that's what you just said is a statement of honor.
Yes. Well, I talked about this yesterday, and I made a post about this the other day. I said, I've learned from so many great leaders about bearing and tact, right? I know you get enough modern day politics where people stand out on the city's court steps or the halls of Congress and just, they're bashing away and they're thumping their chest, and people are tired of that. I mean, people are tired of those type politics. You got to go back to the days of where people are statesmen and stateswomen who recognize where we differ and say we differ on these things. However, there are 15 other things we're aligned on that we can be working on too. So two things can be true at the same time. We can differ here, but the difference between leadership and authority is leadership says, let's work on these things and move these things while we work on this. Authority says, nope, you're not going to get that, and we're not going to work on that until you change your mind on this. That's authority. And guess what? We've got the votes to keep that from happening until you bend to my will. That is self-centered and self-focused, and it's not focused upon delivering these things. Because I tell people all the time, I don't care where you live in this city. I promise you right now, I will send a survey to every single residence, and it'll say, what are your top 5 priorities in this city? 9 times out of 10, 3 to 4 of those will all be the same. They may be in different order based upon your priority, crime, flooding, economic development, right? All those things that have always been. So let's work on the things that move those issues versus just being stuck in this thing right here, right? You saw that in my first council. We had people who were brand new to the world of being an elected official. We grew together. Trust me, we weren't in lockstep with one another. There are times when that door closed and we hashed it out in the room and said, okay, we got perspective. We differ on this. And I understand that you're going to have to publicly come out and make a stand. And I get that, but it was never about being disagreeable, right? And so I tell people all the time, we loved one another. I mean, we truly, all of that council, we loved one another, cared for each other. We were friends outside of this. And there were times we disagreed and there were things that I didn't get past. But it didn't mean that this person was my enemy. And we use words like war and all these other things because words matter in this temperature. And then, but what I'll say is this: I'm only responsible for my conduct and the things that I do. And I'll always, if it doesn't serve a purpose, if it doesn't move the needle, if it doesn't do anything but make clips and sound bites in the paper, I'm not going to say it, right? I'm going to speak once. That's all I need to do. I'm going to speak once, and then I'm going to move on, right? And to continually perpetuate something is not good for this community. What people need is strong leadership, and strong leadership looks beyond pettiness. It moves to purpose, right? It is, what is your purpose in office? Does it serve people? Is it worth your time and energy to be wasted? Because there are so many things that you can be focusing your time on. But sometimes you've got to realize, is that the whole goal? To get you distracted on the things so you don't produce for the people. And so
I would say, as a citizen and a customer of your services, as a resident of the city, I would say what I would hope to see in your conduct is, and I have, is someone that solves problems. and obsesses about opportunities.
Yeah. 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 I love it.
Not obsesses about problems.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. And that is, and that's what I think that is so, I don't know. That's why, that's where my time should be focused.
Yeah. Be obsessed about the opportunities.
Yes. I love it.
Solve the problem.
You frame that in a very good way. Yeah.
And then go obsess about the opportunities.
Yeah.
Versus obsessing about the problems.
Yeah.
Like is racism a problem?
Yeah. We all recognize that.
Yeah.
It's always going to be.
Yeah,
There's
it's
not
a
a
problem.
time that we live in this country that, you know, because we all know it. There are evil people in this world, and they come in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, right? Way I look at it is I choose people with a good heart, right? Even though we disagree, and we can move together. Good friend of mine explained it this way. She said there are pros, it's the pros versus the progressives. You're either pro this or pro that, and that you ain't gonna, but you're gonna stay right here. But there are people, as you get closer, to say, we talked about it earlier, these are the things we disagree upon. I love you, and I'm not gonna let that keep us from a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. Look, trust me, I've got a good friend of mine. Ooh, she lights me up. When there's something that she feels that I'm out of, because she loves me. I mean, this is a good friend, and she's like, Friday, I love you too much to not at least give you perspective about how, you know, there may be a group of people that may feel this way, but I need to let you know you need to do this, right? You are not doing enough of X, Y, and Z to inform people of this because, oh, she'll get on me, like get on me. But in the end of that, she says, I'm going to ride with you till the wheels fall off, right? But you need to know this, and I'm not your friend if I don't tell you this, right? And so you've got to have those spiritual accountability partners, those friendship accountability partners, the people that are in your circle. Don't surround yourself with yes men and yes women. Mm-hmm. If you look at my staff, you got people who are every leaning of the political spectrum in my office, because they give me perspective on decisions that I'm making and actually challenge me in a positive way to say, Mayor, have you thought about this? Mayor, have you thought about how it may affect this? Have you thought about... That's what you need. And in my staff meetings, my executive meetings, look, I told them straight up, don't hold back. Ooh, even my executive staff, there's some heated discussions. I'm talking about conversations. But we respect each other's position because we all have something to bring to the table. But we all understand when we walk out of that room, whatever decision is made, we're going to make it together. And when we walk out, and it's not going to be like, oh, the mayor made us do this. No, this is the direction that we're going to move in, right? And so we've said all we needed to say, so there's no hard feelings after the meeting. And you do it in a professional and respectful manner, and you give pushback, and you move forward after that. And we need all those folks in our lives. But when you talk about, there will always be problems that are going to continue to exist to the end of time, right? Your goal is to find the people that want to do positive things, who are obsessed with the possibilities, obsessed about defending their community, obsessed about, doing good for people. And when you put enough of those people in a room, there's nothing you can't accomplish. I've seen it happen all the time. And I'll say, the folks who don't want to recognize it, guess what? We'll circle the wagons back around and we'll come back to you again. And if you still don't want to get on, guess what? We're going to make a little more progress and circle around. It's up to them. If it's their choice to stay where they're going to stay. We're going to keep moving forward regardless. And we're going to do everything we can to bring folks along. But there are people that just don't want to see it. There are people that are stuck on the negative, and that's all they want to see. And I can't control that. I'm a positive person. I'll let a dog bite me 8 times before I stop trying to pet it, right? You know what I mean? It's just like, that's my biggest weakness is I give people way too many opportunities to burn me, right, on things. And but once I'm at that point, I'm like, look, I can't continue to do what I'm trying to do because by giving you all this attention, I'm neglecting so many other people over here who need that attention too. So, overly optimistic person, and I just see so much possibility here within the city. And I like that. I'll be relentless about, making sure that it happens and delivering results for our people. And in the end, they decide whether I stay or go. And I just hope that folks will respect the fact that it took everybody in the city to put me in this seat that I sit in. I haven't lost sight who I work for and who I represent. And I represent every person in this city, and I serve every person regardless of what district they live in or what street they live on. I represent the people of Monroe, and I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make sure the city grows, their families are healthy, and opportunity is here. And if the people don't like what I've done, then I'll go home, right? And I'll be happy, not happy that I'm gone home. I'll be happy in the fact that the good work that I did and that the people gave me the opportunity to represent them for that amount of time. I don't want to be that cat that just refuses to go away and is clutching on to, something. People decide what you're going to do next. You're right. You don't get to decide. You get to hope for what you want to do next. People will decide what you do next, and hopefully we've made enough difference within the city of Monroe that they'll give us another opportunity to continue this growth.
Wow. I think that's it, man.
Yeah. Well, it's good. I appreciate you having me on, and these are
one last question.
Yeah, come on, come on. Let's get.
I got to trick you into thinking you're going home. Didn't it?
Gotcha. Good. Come on. What you got?
So you're in your second term.
Yeah.
You got one more term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Potentially, if you don't screw up.
Yeah. Don't mess it up, Mayor. Yeah.
But then after that, isn't there a term limits?
Yeah, there's term
situation
limits as well. Yeah.
So are you going to try to undo the term limits or
no,
what?
No. I think. Look, here's the deal. I think I said people, but city council did it. But look, I think there's a shelf life for everybody. I think at some point there needs to be new blood. Hopefully we've inspired a whole new batch of people, that unexpected leadership in a sense. And I tell people all the time, you don't need anybody's permission to lead in your community, whether it's public office, run for office, whatever it is. You don't need anybody's permission to do it. What I hope is that we've inspired young leadership to step into office and say that, it's our time now. It's our time to pick up the baton and run, stand on the shoulders of people who've brought us this far, honor those folks while understanding that it's our job to bring it forward. Had this conversation again with Nolan yesterday. I said, sometimes it's not about running for the next office. Sometimes it may be using this experience that I've learned here, the connections that I've made, to go find somebody that I believe in and go work and help them be successful. There's a lot of elected officials that I believe in, and there are people that I'll run through brick walls for. And if it's an opportunity that I see somebody that's making a difference and it's somebody I believe in, maybe I want to go work for them. Public service is, man, I could tell you, or an agency that's making good progress, right? I can think of people like the DRA, right? The Delta Regional Authority, that do really good things in rural and small communities. My heart is always in rural communities. They're cash strapped, right? The opportunities have just hit wave after wave crash on them, with just people leaving, talent leaving, tax bases drying up into larger markets, and being able to represent communities like that. And I feel Monroe is that for this region. Monroe is that land of opportunity for people in rural communities that drive in and work, right? That their kids come and get educated, right? That they use our rural hospitals, feed our main hospitals here. So I always think of Monroe as that way, and all the decisions I make, I understand that the decisions I make affect an entire region, because the health of Monroe is the health of this entire region. And so my heart is always in rural America, and maybe it's agencies like that I want to go to work for, or if there's somebody who represents this region, either in Congress or that represents in the Senate, or maybe there's another agency that I'd like to go to work for to help rural America be strong, I'll do it in a heartbeat. But in the end, goes back to one of our very first conversations, right? God will create that path. He'll create those opportunities for you. And sometimes it may be that pause. You got to be okay in that pause, that moment where you don't feel like you're making a lot of progress. And maybe God is using that time for you to decide what's next and helping you decide that path, what's next. But ultimately, it's going to go back down to a lot of prayer, a lot of petition on what I want to do. And then also got to go have that conversation with mama. You know, is she tired of me taking it on the chin? Is she tired of, of just public life and public office? And, because in the end, my marriage has got to stay healthy. My relationship with my kids have got to stay healthy. And if that means that, after my, 3 terms, if that's it, then that's it. And if I can go back to selling cigars and traveling the world, and that wasn't a bad gig either. But it's going to be about, what is God's path laid out? What of these opportunities? What has God prepared me for in this time as mayor? And then what does that lead, and how can I help people be successful in another way? How do I serve in another way? But it'll always be from a servant role, because I feel like anytime that you live your life in the service of other people, it's so rewarding, regardless, of your paycheck. Teachers, bless you all, right? That is a calling. They're not in it for the money. And people who've served their life like teachers, law enforcement, firefighters, public servants like that, man, they hold a special place in my heart. But public service and having a calling on your life is much greater at times than a paycheck. And if you can be fulfilled in that way, that's whatever God's leading me to. That's what's going to be what's next. But right now, God has put me in this opportunity, and the people of Monroe have given me another chance to build upon the progress we had in the first year. I'm excited what the next 3 years have to hold, and I'm excited about the future of this region right now, because we've got a lot of good people in place.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank
brother.
you for coming in.
Yeah.
This has been great. It's been very informative. I'm excited. I'm excited for what lies ahead, and I thank you for your service. Yeah. And thanks, I would acknowledge you for being a husband and a father.
Yeah.
And man, I just think the world of anybody that steps up and is a daddy.
Yeah.
And I just think it's I think it's a beautiful thing, and I
Good
think
station in life, man.
It's just we just need daddies.
Yeah. That's it. That's it. Yep. Thank you.
All right, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, brother. Yep. Thanks, man.
All right. Waiting Tables is proudly powered by our local community, and we'd love to have your business at the table. Your sponsorship keeps the stories, laughs, and real conversations rolling. When you support the show, you're not just advertising. You're joining a community that celebrates hard work, humor, and humanity. If you'd like to pull up a chair, email us at staff@bruscatolaw.com or reach out on social media. Let's keep the good stories and the good people flowing. Before we jump back into my conversation with Hannah Laverne, I've got to share something special happening right here in Monroe, Louisiana. Avenue Studio and Spa isn't just a salon. It's where beauty meets belonging. From the moment you walk in, you can feel it. Calm, care, and connection in every detail. Whether you're there for precision hair care, flawless nails, eyelash extensions, or an incredible makeup experience, the Avenue team brings more than skill. They bring heart. And I can tell you firsthand, my wife Cassie absolutely loves it. Every time she leaves Avenue, she looks radiant, but more importantly, she feels radiant. The services she's curated there have become her go-to way to recharge, feel confident, and show up as her best self. And honestly, seeing her light up after a visit, that's the best part. At Avenue Studio and Spa, it's not about changing who you are. It's about revealing the beauty that's already there. So if you've been waiting for a sign to slow down, recharge, and do something just for you, this is it. Your stunning transformation begins now at Avenue Studio and Spa. And for my fellow business owners and community leaders listening, notice what Avenue just did. They didn't just advertise, they connected. They aligned with a community that values heart, excellence, and service. If you'd like your message featured right here on Waiting Tables, send me a DM and let's talk about how your business can be a part of this growing community.